Camilo Mejia. Camilo Mejia was the first U.S. soldier who served in Iraq to go public with his refusal to continue fighting George Bush's war. A military court forced Mejia to serve 7 months confinement for his decision. Since his release, Mejia has thrown himself into building the anti-war movement and counter-recruitment efforts. In 2005, he gave this speech in Chicago.
Those of us in the GI anti-war movement, whether we know it or not, face a powerful enemy. And when I say anti-war movement, it is assumed I mean the war in Iraq. But the war in Iraq should be seen as part of something far bigger and far more devastating. The powerful enemy is the corporations that finance congressional and presidential campaigns, the corporation in control of our privatized government. This is the same enemy that charges the American people $1 billion per week to send their children to fight a criminal war against the children in Iraq. Our struggle is the struggle against those who say support our troops while turning their backs on returning veterans. Support the troops by waving flags and slapping yellow ribbons on the bumpers of SUVs. Support the troops while they are killing their brothers and sisters in Iraq. Meanwhile, hiding the flag-draped coffins some of them are coming home in, and keeping the horror of their wounds out of the public's view. We struggle against those who create terrorism through the spread of hunger and poverty so they can spread war and reap the profits. We struggle against those who invade and occupy a land for its resources, then call its people terrorists for refusing to be conquered. No longer able to rely on the rhetoric of the Cold War, the corporate warmongers need this global terrorism to justify the spread of its empire. So, the war we oppose is the war waged by corporations on the billions of people around the world who live in utter misery. And the so-called American dream to many poor people is tied to the obligation to fight in a war for corporate domination. They call it an all-volunteer army. But to them I say, show me a society where everyone has access to health care. Show me a society where everyone has access to an education. Show me a society where everyone has access to decent wages, where everyone lives a dignified life, and then I will show you an all-volunteer army. Poverty and oppression around the world provide the building blocks for an empire. Poverty and oppression at home provide the building blocks to build an imperial army. In saying no to that imperial army, in refusing to fight an imperial war against our brothers and sisters of Iraq, I pledge my allegiance to the poor and oppressed of this world. In saying no to an imperial army and in refusing to fight an imperial war against our brothers and sisters of Iraq, I pledge my allegiance to the working class of the world. Their struggle, which is your struggle, is my struggle too.